only Echo Fox. That only went 2-0-0-2. I think that was the team. But they do have a little bit of that like inconsistency about them, right? But I agree with you. IMT don't feel like they're very many steps away from finding their footing and just going on a run, right? Maybe you go on a 6-game streak. Maybe you go like 4-2 or 5-1, right? It does feel like this is a team that is maybe set to leapfrog themselves in the standings as they increase in power. So definitely a good test for them here up against FlyQuest. See if they can continue to show off their pretty fast-paced gameplay. If you tuned in yesterday, Rumble Nautilus, though, banned by FlyQuest, and Gwen, understandably, banned by IMT.
Yeah, FlyQuest has been very quick to pick up the new champions. Gwen in particular, if you remember, way back at the beginning when Licorice played it against CLG, looked really clean on it. Wouldn't be surprised if Jose Dioro, Palafox are all able to play this champion. So just banning out a lot of the standard champions, and they're not necessarily tailored against FlyQuest because FlyQuest thus far hasn't necessarily found an identity that they've stuck with the entire time. We've got teams like 100 Thieves that found the Karma, found the Akali, played it until it gets banned, and then show us something differently. FlyQuest continues to experiment. The one similarity has been that they like to play around Palafox and his Sylas, but the pick currently isn't something that you can just blind and always be successful with. So they tried it yesterday with the Sejuani. It did okay, but this time around, though, they will get the Karma, which has been heavily prioritized around the world. And one team today has shown us how to beat it, CLG, with their hard-engaged comp. So maybe IMT took a page from that one.
Of note, and also a difference from that game, Lulu is not banned. That's the other thing. So could be traded here if IMT want to take an Enchanter for themselves, but probably no need to rush that pick. I doubt FlyQuest would play double Enchanter. But to kind of, I guess, maybe look at your question a bit further about, what kind of identity should FlyQuest be playing? Well, I think we can all agree that their top side is pretty nice, right? And you have to maybe pick a lane to play through. Maybe they tried Licorice and it doesn't work. Jose definitely is the kind of player, it feels like you can build up to be a carry. Karma is definitely the kind of champion where you're going to play that kind of style. So they can't take this in because it is banned, but we'll see what else they maybe have here as Ezreal is going to go over to IMT.
A lot of the jungle picks right now that answer Rumble are carry junglers. We saw from 100 Thieves, the Diana, Fiddlesticks can be an answer to it as well, as the Rumble does sacrifice the early game. So I'm curious to see what FlyQuest's plan is at the moment because of the Rumble ban, because it's not going to be so easy to blind these picks. Jose is hovering the Fiddlesticks, but most likely as a blind pick, it's kind of asking for trouble for the enemy team. So instead, they'll just take in that Lee Sin and give us, so far, a very standard core of some of the most contested picks in the current meta.
Yeah, kind of like the flexibility here, though. Karma and Lee both can go in a multitude of different places. They do take Triss, which is another flex here. I'm guessing it's Johnson's champion, given that Karma's on the board, but it could be Triss. Karma bot lane, then Pal could take something else. It could be Palafox's Trist. Licorice, I guess, could play Karma. That is a thing you can do. So there are definitely options here on the FlyQuest side. But Viego, Ezreal there for IMT. This time, by the way, not giving the Ezreal over. That's one of the... IMT have actually left Karma open twice now in their games. But interesting to see that this time they wanted to take the Ezreal for themselves, and they'll go for Gragas here.
So the Ezreal feels like not just a deny pick, but something that the IMT Academy team has been doing is playing Ezreal in the mid lane. Pretty good right now. We've seen it in other teams, and it was with Pretty, who did take a game in the LCS team. So I think that clearly we're already seeing the IMT lineup utilize the Academy team with players. Wouldn't surprise me to see their strategies be bleeding over as well. So I think this Ezreal on red side can be very dangerous. It's something that FlyQuest will have to respect, as well as the respect for his Xerxes. He has been so good on the picks that we have known him to have played in Europe before he came over. The Rumble was one of them. Did take a loss on the Gragas, but that was a very close game, and frankly, looks pretty good on it. It's really good as a displacement tool against these champions like the Karma and the Tristana, because you don't have to always use your cast to displace people into your team. You can just punt them away, and they're not the greatest champions at re-entering the fight once they're pushed away.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it was Yasui yesterday playing Ezreal mid, but definitely an option here to have that as a pick. Insanity, that's right in his wheelhouse, right? This guy plays just about everything, so definitely a good note there on a potential flex. Lulu is actually banned by IMT, so they're considering double Enchanter as a possibility. Clearly don't want it for themselves. Thresh banned as well. Leona banned by Fly. IMT definitely indicating that they think Karma is not going to Dreams, but think he actually has already played it this split, if my memory is serving correctly. And maybe one more support ban here for Fly.
Really
kind of funny to see all this attention there.
That double Enchanter ban, or the Lulu ban, is really peculiar because that would have been a wonky FlyQuest composition. There's just not a strong enough hyper carry that you can rely on with the Tristana. She truly needs to go to the very edge of the game, level 18, for that range to be so dominating, and she doesn't have the ability to just harass you with abilities before just being able to auto you away. So with that being said, IMT does take away the Nocturne, and I think this is going to be for Insanity again. He had a really good game on it yesterday against Cloud9. They won with that one, and a really good play that they've been making is utilizing the Nocturne with the teleport on the side lanes to get a numbers advantage that FlyQuest simply is not able to answer. And with the likes of a Karma, she's going to be fodder with the Stride Breaker, with whoever is being set up for those ganks. She really won't be able to escape.
Yeah. I'm still doing a Lulu because I think it's so funny. Maybe the playing was like double AD, double Enchanter, Lee Sin.
Yeah.
Right? I guess that's a comp you can play on Fly, but anyway, we'll find out maybe later. Braum going to be the pick instead, following the Nocturne, because there's just been so many supports banned. Yuumi, funnily enough, was actually banned by FlyQuest. So
they're
not
scared.
Destiny,
They're real scared of that one
from yesterday.
That's what it would have been really weird to go for that composition, because you need another hyper carry. You need something to get more value out of those auto attacks. And so it actually will be Kindred in the jungle then, helping out Lee Sin top, Karma in the mid lane. So it's not going to be the Karma Xin that we're used to, but Karma Kindred can be really deadly. And it's one of these champions that is amazing at dealing with hard dive compositions. You dive so hard, you commit everybody. Well, Lamb's Respite stops all of it, puts the entire team fight on pause. So this is an answer to IMT already committing 3 and now 4 champions that are going to be hard diving.
Now, I like this, especially kind of as a response to Nocturne mostly, right? But Viego obviously wants to dive as well. There is a little bit of already inbuilt counterplay for IMT, though. If you recall, many years back now, Kindred vs. Gragas was a very common matchup. So Gragas does have the ability to boot her out of her ulti every now and then. But in general, I think both teams have set themselves up nicely. This is a kind of a different look on the Karma plus other stuff comp. But I kind of like what FlyQuest have set up here. And I guess as we've been somewhat indicating, it does feel like this game is going to be in the hands of Johnson and Jose Diodo. So he, at least on the top side for FlyQuest, is the one set up to carry this game.
Exactly, it's those two. Jose Diodo in particular, I think, will love having the Braum by his side. When you get sped up by the Karma and then you're able to stun people from a distance, it just makes it so difficult for anybody to be caught in the river by themselves on the side of IMT. So it's going to be critical for this game for Immortals. Keep track of Kindred. Keep her down. Don't get those marks be taken away, because if she starts getting that range stacked up, those 4, even that 7 mark number, she is going to be ridiculous to deal with. Tristana, you know she'll get there eventually, but you can keep the Kindred down.
All right, well, we'll see what happens here. IMT up against FlyQuest here as FlyQuest searching for a win throughout the weekend. IMT looking to continue some of the strength they've shown off already this week. Definitely big attention for those two men on your screen. Xerxes versus Jose.
I like that IMT prioritizes ease of execution a lot of these times. And even if it's not the easiest when they've played the Ziggs and the Yuumi, it's exactly what these players are good at. The Ziggs for Insanity, something that he's very familiar with, and now they're going to have multiple games on the same champions that same week. It's something that I always like to see, is when teams find a win with a certain kind of draft, run it back. Run it back until it gets banned. Force the enemy to take you away from the picks that you're already warm up on stage. Of IMT versus FlyQuest.
It definitely makes sense to me that the solo lane is a lot of value in learning the other lane, right? So you can maybe swap things around, but especially nowadays, so many different champions you can play on those solo lanes. Definitely some value in moving them around. But for now, we are going to move back out onto the Rift. IMT versus Fly round 2, but same game. Ooh, bit of a change. Jose going to be spotted once again, but he's not alone this time.
That's the level 1 plan, but Xerxes keeping his distance. Destiny is nearby, but they know they are so much weaker at the level 1.
This is very smart, actually, from Destiny, just making sure he's hanging out in the area in case Xerxes gets invaded. Palafox does get some poke onto Revenge, but not quite enough there. And if you've got some weekend errands to run and don't want to miss any of the matchup as well, you can check out an audio-only cast of the games through League Day. Be sure to check that out as well.
It's actually very useful. A lot of the times, you know, maybe you're running errands, you're doing something around the house, you can't have a screen in front of you all the time. Pop it in, listen to it. And that's sometimes how I like to watch my League games.
I've like been pitching audio only for a while because I just needed like to hear the games driving. I was like, I'm heading home. I don't want to miss anything. And, you know, streaming Twitch to your phone, not that exciting.
Yeah, and don't watch a screen while driving.
Exactly.
Very important. Keep your eyes on the road, guys.
All
As a new driver, please do this.
Listen to him. All right, Xerxes on the blue buff. Helping out Raze and Destiny. So a pretty substantial leash there. Dreams and Johnson are going to be at the wave alone for a pretty significant amount of time. As you can see, Dreams already playing up and ahead of the wave. Oh,
they missed
misses. Nice juke actually by Destiny.
IMT missed experience for one of those creeps, so that could actually hurt them. I wonder if FlyQuest spotted that one. We'll try to push forward and take advantage on it on the next wave.
Sometimes the leash is too good, Crumbs.
Yeah. The jungler is like, thank you very much, man. I will gank your lane first. Don't worry about it.
I don't think he's passing that way. I don't think that's true. Xerxes looks like he's going up towards the big tough side. Yeah. You've been scammed. Here, give me a power leash. I'll come gank you.
Yes. Hey, it works half the time. You know, that's what the solo laners love to do. Guys, no flash. Guys, no flash. Come gank my lane. Turns out you commit everything for it. The guy flashes, so you still get the kill, but you're wondering, why did you tell me that? It's like, but we got the kill. It's all good.
You didn't know. I didn't know either. All right, Jose Diodo on the Raptors. Going to go ahead and take those out. Power Fox here on the Karma, dueling this Nocturne. Nocturne pushing the daylights out of that wave, to be honest. Destiny does find Johnson. Johnson still with the rocket jump ready to go. And now Ray's in trouble. Oh, Ignite is down already, though, so Ray's going to back away and be okay.
Yeah, I think Johnson actually got his rocket jump canceled there out of Destiny, so he didn't have it available to try to turn tail and go on top of Raze from that one. But still, FlyQuest walk away victorious with that. And now the coin flip, the dreaded coin flip for every Kindred jungler. Will it spawn on his own side, or will it spawn top side? Wow! Hits it. Amazing Kindred gameplay.
Good jungler. Also, like, probably the right way to go, right? Because their top lane is pushing in and your bot lane is pushing in. So sometimes you just have to decide based on the map state, but thankfully is rewarded by winning that 50-50. So it does get that first stack nice and quickly.
As the Gragas or the opposing jungler to a Kindred, you always feel like, dang, like, oh, they're already ahead of me. I couldn't do anything about that, guys. Like, I'm falling behind. So help me out. Help me protect the lanes, because it's not just about helping the Kindred, but also about helping Gragas defend those marks.
Quite the Q angle there from Licorice, by the way. Does get a good trade onto Revenge, but Revenge feeling just fine there on the Viego. Jose looking to dive here on the bottom side, making it very obvious, but can they even get away? Braum is there, Raze is low. Exhaust is down. Jose still looking for it, but the tower's so hot. There as the first blood does come through. Powerfox in time with the roam does get the shield, and they're going to redive Destiny here. It's going to be Powerfox to take the aggro. Destiny's going to miss that Q. Now TP's coming through. That's going to force the flash away as the teleport will protect the rest of the side. That's insanity down here to make sure nothing else happens. And topside now, Licorice going to get himself stunned. Has to flash away. Nice pressure from Xerxes.
Yeah, well played from Licorice, dodging out on the counter move from IMT. But the dive on FlyQuest in the bottom lane is huge. That's another mark for Kindred. Bide her time, marked out the Ezreal. It didn't start off as cleanly as you would have liked to see it. I believe there's actually a split focus on who to go after there, because Dreams ends up tagging only Destiny, so there's no auto or even Braum Q to go onto the Ezreal, but Kindred's already marked Ezreal, and he's squishier, so they want to go after him. Luckily, though, with a good tower juggling, they're actually able to get the Kindred out, and then in the reattempt, there are the possibility for Nocturne to come back in here, so he just burns it to make sure that Destiny doesn't die and that somebody can catch that wave.
Yeah, FlyQuest, though, do not stick around, because Nocturne would have definitely killed at least one of them if they'd gotten overly ambitious there. So everyone gets out. Tons of summoners burnt in that exchange. Johnson is out of sums. Jose has no flash. Licorice out of sums, but that's a different reason. Xerxes with a nice bit of pressure in the top lane, as we saw on the other side of that play. And Insanity now level 6. So even though he did have to use the TP to help out bottom lane, is much more mobile now. He's going to shove these waves and then look to attack a side lane. Or perhaps Invade with his jungler can join Xerxes very easily if he's forward in his lane.
I would love that opportunity for Insanity and Xerxes here. You already have the Predator boots from the Gragas. Kindred just burned her flash. She wants to go after Gragas. She just marked him. So if they could team up and find Jose Diodo looking for a mark or just even trying to set up another gank, I think that's exactly who they can target, because taking down Kindred early slows her down so much, and in a team comp that revolves around her, well, what better way to get ahead than stop the opponent's win condition?
Revenge already level 6 here, so feeling like he can maybe fight Licorice with the current little XP advantage, but I can't imagine Licorice is too far away. Eventually going to go back in, does get a good bit of damage down. Able to kind of flex in the 1v1 right now. Licorice is behind a decent amount. Also a dive's coming in, so Xerxes is going to revisit from earlier. Licorice would love to clear this wave as soon as possible. Not 6 yet, now finally gets it. Here comes Xerxes, perhaps a bad time, does kick him away. And now back onto Viego goes Licorice, but Licorice now going to get knocked around, the damage is there. Viego still going, Xerxes tanking up the tower, and it's just not enough.
Wow, really good timing on Licorice there, just clearing out the wave, knowing that he had level 6 available. IMT tried, but there really just was not enough damage between them. The Lee Sin, too tanky right now, has the double cloth armor. So instead of rushing for his Iron Spike Whip, he's rushing defensive tools to keep him alive in the top side. So normally that probably would have worked had he had a pickaxe, but because he chose to itemize defensively, knowing he's playing weak side as he's already been attacked before, he stays alive for the second attempt on his life. Yeah,
Bramble already done actually. Boots, Door, and Shield alongside that for Licorice. Xerxes does steal away the enemy blue buff, which is nice to see. And Revenge is enjoying a 25 CS lead currently. Though Licorice is going to get some back. Revenge does have TP though, so can use it to get very aggressively back to lane if he does want to keep up the pressure. Dreams gets a recall cancelled thanks to Destiny's Q and that sweeper. But Johnson has already taken his back. Pickaxe, 2 long swords, Boots, and a control ward. You love to see it. Coaches everywhere rejoice. As Ray's not taking that first back yet.
Yeah, I imagine IMT, though, want to recall pretty quickly because the Herald is going to be spawning right now. IMT's strong side has been Revenge right now. They've played towards him plenty of games in the past. It has worked out since FlyQuest did attack the bottom lane earlier, and the jungle pathings continue to work out in starting topside going bottom for FlyQuest. Well, looking to swap topside could get you a Rift Herald, but because the camp Gromp has spawned a mark, you got to go down there first. You can't let Jose Diodo take this one for free if you were to swap over and just give her another mark. She's already at 2 stacks, so giving a third just means that a team fight can happen and suddenly she's already at 4 and it's going to be a nightmare to deal with.
Yeah, as you said, the race to 4 is often what Kindred are thinking about in the early stages of the game, so Xerxes takes the Gromp. Pretty easy for him to do to deny that away. First Dragon did go to fly off the end of an earlier play, but the next one's up in 3 minutes, but not around for a bit, so no team has to really get there hastily. That Herald is up, as you mentioned as well, but it doesn't look like the teams want to play the top side right now.
The control wards for IMT, just tell me where they're prioritizing their playmaking. So they actually haven't cleared the Rift Herald, but they do have that double control ward on the pixel and the left side, so they have 3 people available right away. FlyQuest is moving top side though, as Jose Diodo is moving to the top, but he knows he's already too late. They have vision on this, so he'll settle for a crab and trying to invade, but a good pathing for Xerxes means that there's nothing on the IMT blue side for Jose Diodo to take in return. Yeah,
it looks like I think maybe found a reset timer there for IMT, or just took the control they had with those wards you mentioned. But whatever it was, successful take of the Herald. In mid lane though, trouble for Insanity. Pops the ulti here, and it's going to be a kill for Jose. Ooh. Does grab Insanity. Revenge also TPing in. Dreams now. No level 6 for the Braum. Q's going to miss and fly back away.
Very nice timing out of FlyQuest. They didn't have a play to make, but they see Insanity greedy in his return to the mid lane, knowing that, well, the wave has already been pushed in. We got the Herald. I want to just cash this out right now, not too worried about the karma, but instead it gets rooted and makes it very easy for FlyQuest to get the kill. Jose did not want to risk anything, and actually with those sick mechanics, ends up putting himself even further away from the Viego. So the spell shield comes out too late, doesn't actually block the karma tether, and then he dodges out of this. We could have actually even tanked it and would have still been displaced to the bot side. So the important thing was flashing in that direction. Didn't matter how deep he went.
All right, and you can see Jose, top of the gold charts right now. First player to clear 4K by a lot, actually. Powerfox next in line is, 500-600 gold behind his jungler, but does have the Shurelia's battle song completed. One of the nice things about the item being so cheap.
Yeah, that is actually going to be very relevant from now on, since Kindred will love to have her spells. Oh, Revenge, though there is kick on Licorice. If he oversteps, he's going to get punted back.
It's a great bait here by Licorice. Oh, he sold it so well. Now the insta-flash from Revenge. Pops the ulti as well to get away. But very nicely done there by FlyQuest.
Sold it so well, but then just showed his hand right at the very end. I think you could have made sure that the money was in your bank account before you really committed that one. He was writing the check, really wanted to go after the Lee Sin, took a bad trade, but then showed up immediately. Revenge still with the flash and ultimate, so you get a lot out of him, but not quite the kill. And show your hand. He gets to recall right away, though, knowing that the Herald is popped into the bot side, and he wants to defend this in case IMT wants to commit more for this play.
All right, well, Herald's going to crash down bottom side. Raze collects some of the gold from the plates. And Dragon's up in 10 seconds. Rakana's already taken it back. But FlyQuest are going to have to spend some time getting here. Jose is back out on this side of the map, though, and does have his Mythic finish already. In fact, it's 2 Mythics to 0 right now here for FlyQuest, partly for Powerfox because his Mythic is quite cheap. And Jose's just honestly pretty far ahead in this game. Again, was up in gold, has those 2 kills. Now the Kraken Slayer completed for Kindred already.
That's very scary, and now you see Dreams just teaming up with Jose Diodo and Palafox. These two now are going to be able to win most 2v2 battles. Insanity does have his ultimate back, so it's not something that they can be very confident with if they just catch 2v2 without the knockdown, because they can get jumped on, but there's now another mark that Kindred's going to get on spawn, and so she's going to top off to 3. Oh, I misread that actually. That was in the Raptor camp.
Yeah, so actually the other one with the mark, but they're busy top lane. Licorice has felt the weak side pressure this game, but does dodge out of the 1v3. Does have to flash, unfortunately for him, but FlyQuest are just winning on this side of the map so hard that I don't think they mind too much here. It's going to be a race for first tower, though, as Jose is going to take the blue buff away, but Johnson's going to start working on this bottom tower.
He's learned from the game against TSM, where Licorice has been getting just hard camped. Now he's not dying to them. He's actually just backing away and allowing the rest of the team to get advantages in opposite sides of the map. So it works out at the end. Both teams are just trading gold. It's reminiscent of the turret pushing days at level 1, where you just trade in the side lanes and try to take turrets, and you just count on one side of yours to carry the rest of the game. And when you have double marksmen that are going to be the core of your composition, having a Braum, having a Karma, I have more faith in these components of my team composition getting gold than just a single Viego. Viego's so much better against melee champions that want to put themselves in the range of his sword. Against the Kindred, against the Tristana, it's going to be much harder for him to get into the backline and start DPSing before he gets knocked down.
Yeah, race to first tower still on, by the way. Both top and bot for IMT and Fly had to back away, so it's 1 plate left on the bottom side, 1.5 here in the top side, but Licorice is actually keeping Viego off this tower. Happy to tank it there. Popping the safeguard, does have 3 points in it already.
And just freezing the wave, just holding it. There's nothing going on the map. There's no need to actually try to push this right now. You know you're already playing weak side. I mean, that's part of why you get dove a lot, actually, if you just keep holding waves right there. But in the meantime, IMT is attempting to set up something with Destiny in the back. We've seen this from Smoothie a lot this week, trying to go for flanks on the Rakan. But with the rest of the team not being in that position, he'll just back off. Yeah,
unfortunately for Destiny, the play is not happening in that jungle. Even though they do a very nice control deep in FlyQuest jungle, the play is just straight through the lane there in bottom side. FlyQuest collect the last few plates, I believe, and do get the first tower bonus gold as well. But Destiny, the long con may pay off here.
Ooh, the secret Destiny of IMT.
Destiny now 1v3ing, but there's Nocturne joining in, 2v3. As Jose getting low, Insanity did a ton of damage there as Dreams tries to pop the ulti, but doesn't really find anyone there. As Powerfox does get away, was forced to flash though. 2
flashes on 2 very important members of FlyQuest, so they will be able to punish this one next time around since they kept their own. Nocturne, Rakan, and Gragas can still look for that play when their ultimates come back up. So the flank still works out. They were going to lose that turret anyway, since that was where FlyQuest was attacking with their double carries and a very strong Kindred right now. So I think that that's one move that Immortals would have loved to get some kills on, but can attack again in a few minutes. Unfortunately, it will cost them the Rift Herald. Without those ultimates, it's going to be very difficult to contest this. Jose still has his own ultimate, so if a fight were to break out, he can buy enough time for the rest of the team to collapse. Instead, no one will look for it. He'll just get a free Rift Herald.
Yeah, should be an easy Herald take there by the looks of things. Revenge is looking to 1v1 Johnson perhaps, but Tristana going to stay safe, has the rocket jump at the ready, so not under too much threat there. IMT are looking to respond here, but a little too late for that Herald as we anticipated, and both the marksmen on the FlyQuest side are looking good as far as that gold generation goes. Johnson actually now, thanks to those The tower in bottom side actually leaping up ahead in gold, but both of them clearing 6K already. I mean, Revenge is next in line for IMT, right? He's got the Divine Sundra. At least in this mid game, it does feel like he's the one with the gold and kind of put to task to try and carry in this situation, but IMT definitely going to have to worry about the damage output because Tristan Kindred are only going to get stronger as the game goes later.
Yeah, I don't think the responsibility for IMT can be entirely lifted by Revenge. It will have to come from not just his own play, but how coordinated the engage is. You're going to have to find flank angles. You're going to have to turn off the lights with Insanity's ultimate and allow the Rakan or the Gragas to get into the backline. Same thing with Revenge. Displacing the Kindred or even being able to pop her before the ultimate comes out will be the keys in actually taking down this FlyQuest lineup, because with how fed these carries are already getting, as we saw with the gold graphs, they're going to be able to just mow down whoever gets tagged by Braum and by Karma. So far, FlyQuest not necessarily accelerated in their gold. They do have a fair bit of dragons, but the itemization is exactly where they want it to be.
Yeah, pace of this game feels definitely comfy for FlyQuest. Got 2 ADs, got an Enchanter. Everything's feeling A-OK. Xerxes lining up a dive here with Destiny, though. Doesn't have Insanity available for the potential ulti dive. He's bottom side right now battling Licorice. But Xerxes just going to steal away this camp instead, and I think Powervox is playing respectfully enough with the vision he doesn't have. As FlyQuest able to easily demolish this top tower.
I love this Rift Herald play topside from FlyQuest. They can take this home into 2 turrets if they want to trade this dragon right now. IMT is already down here. They can infer that it's going to happen, but instead of actually going for it, they will just back off. Maybe they're trying to rotate into the mid lane. I think this was a good opportunity to go for 2, though. They were already out of position for this dragon. There's no way they make it, but the carries instead will rotate to the mid lane and see if they can get some damage there.
Yeah, not enough vision here for this play, and not enough time absolutely there as IMT will take that dragon and even things up. So definitely going to be a slow game as far as dragon stacking goes. But it doesn't seem like either team minds too much.
They know the dragons are not the win cons that they used to be, which is, I think, is very healthy for the game right now, where just prioritizing the fight, the way you execute your composition is more important. So they know that, well, the dragon is simply the reason for the fights to happen, and so oftentimes we see the teams that maybe lose the dragon in the fight, but they win it, they take out the jungler who perhaps overcommits to trying to win a smite war, and you give up Baron, and you give up way many more objectives that are more important to actually closing out the game. And here Revenge will have to back off and rightfully seize it, as Dreams and Jose were just lurking over that blast cone, waiting for him to overextend.
Jose now level 12. Still searching for the 3rd and 4th stack, by the way, only at 2 at this moment. Hasn't been able to counter jungle the camp that hasn't been able to kill the enemy jungle either, and in fact might be in trouble. Great flash from Jose as Destiny was looking for the angle. Now FlyQuest will reinforce. Johnson at the ready, ulti out from Dreams. Doesn't connect. There was the TP from Licorice. Is going to let him go deep, and Insanity right there to meet it. As Dreams looks to flash Q in, but doesn't find it. Now Licorice slow, Destiny re-engaging. Safeguard away. Destiny low, but not dead just yet. Buster shot a little short on getting that kill.
Oh, so many abilities burned. And this is what happens when the windows in which Flash were down were not capitalized upon. Kindred already had the flash back up, so very quick reactions from Jose Diodo to actually flash away out of the Rakan engage. Would have died 100% had he been caught by that, but today has been a day where the people playing the marksman have really shown us how quickly they can flash away. Tactical in the bottom lane stands out, and now Jose Diodo.
All right, well, still plenty of ultis up for IMT and able to easily clear the wave, so no more mid-push there for FlyQuest. But again, tough for IMT to really dive them because Kindred ulti is just such a powerful tool in that regard. So FlyQuest, actually, I like this little play. Wait for everyone to go back to lanes, come back to mid there with 3, and make sure they knock it down, because Trist, again, doesn't need much time with the wave there in order to take that tower. So FlyQuest, a little bit of maneuvering back and forth, have actually killed all 3 outer towers now.
Actually taking a page out of IMT's earlier move against Cloud9, where they just waited for the recalls to happen around Baron and then re-engage on the objective. So you just play upon your opponent's assumptions, and especially around vision. You back off into a place that you know is entirely unwarded, and then if you can see them recall, that's extra confidence in being able to go back and take the objective you were after.
All right, well, Revenge is at least going to get a tower back here for IMT, make that objective score 2-3, still in FlyQuest's favor. Items are starting to be finished, though, on the Fly side. 2 for Jose, Phantom Dancer done. Chemtech Putrefied done for Palafox as well, and also the PD done for Johnson. So again, this is kind of the core, I think, of FlyQuest Team Comp to think about, right? It's Karma buffing 2 different enchanters, and like, Lee Sin and Brom's job is to, like, I don't know, CC people so your carries don't die.
Yeah, pretty much, right? Keep these guys alive. As long as they live, you can win the fight. Their DPS is through the roof, and I wonder if IMT feels pressure to take these fights right now, because they can always find members and blow them up if they do it quickly enough before the abilities really come out. But if Braum gets to stand in front, if Kindred gets the ultimate off, it's so much harder, and they haven't really been pressuring FlyQuest. They feel like they can run this map right now. They're starting to group up. They know they have the numbers advantage. Even though Licorice doesn't have Flash, he's still pathing, or pardon, TP, he's still pathing next to the team, because with the double Kraken Phantom Dancer, pressuring Baron is a real prospect for them right now. So things get harder for IMT, and the stakes get raised.
Right, and like, let's be honest, this is not a quick game, right? We've had 2 kills in 22 minutes. This is a lot more about the farming and the back and forth, and I honestly just really love this Kindred pick from FlyQuest, because it feels like IMT, like, know the plan is to kill the Kindred, right? Because you can't really accomplish much without it. But that's a pretty challenging task if Karma is anywhere in the vicinity.
That's what the power of the composition is. It makes it so difficult to prioritize them, because they both keep each other alive, and they both buff each other now that their itemization is so synergistic. So it actually ends up being a really devastating combination. You just got to watch where Palafox is at, and he's just chucking shields away, but IMT engaging.
Lights out, Destiny goes in. There it is. There's the shutdown on the Kindred. And there's Braum going to go down as well. We said IMT couldn't find the angle. They prove us very wrong. It's straight to Baron for Immortals.
That's exactly what they need to do. Engage with everything and make sure that Kindred does not get the ultimate off. No jungler available, no smite. FlyQuest might try to answer this, but Licorice is not that strong. He's built tanky. It's going to be up to Johnson if they really want to win this.
Palafox with decent poke, but it's only onto Destiny. They're just going to stay on the Baron here. Palafox still running in. Johnson has to find something. Zerxstay finds 2 with the Bloody Slam, but Johnson flashes out. Licorice still alive, as well as IMT have peeled off the objective, but Johnson now isolated. Has to be a touch careful, and IMT back to Baron they go, but not a whole lot of health, so it's time to reset.
Good defense out of FlyQuest, and they actually will win out on the objectives after this. The Dragon is up. They can peel away for that one, and it will actually take them to Soul Point. So FlyQuest, with the 3 members remaining, already showing us the power that Karma and a single AD carry can pull off. Good flash away there out of Johnson to stay alive and make sure that the mission of just getting IMT off the Baron was a success.
All right, let's touch this one again. Jose just blown up here.
Destiny once again, and the sick thing about this was the paranoia at the same time. The rest of FlyQuest doesn't know how to help. They're over the ledge. They don't see what's happening. So they just have to count on Jose Deoda to maybe pull the trigger on his ultimate quickly enough. The guy's even got Merc Treads trying to survive this, but it's just not enough. There's too much CC layered on top of him, and he doesn't have any defensive items besides that one. So they blow him up, they go for an objective, but it doesn't actually pay off.
Yeah, we talked about it in Champ Select. We didn't even get to see if it would have happened, but Xerxes had the ulti sending in as well, right?
Yeah.
So even if he ultis, there's a chance you get knocked out and die instantly anyway. So I think IMT definitely had that CC chain on lock. Palafox cannot point and click on his own jungler because Nocturne Ultimate's pretty powerful, as it turns out. So FlyQuest's going to have to go back to the drawing board here as IMT. They're going to make that gold lead basically insignificant on the Fly side. They're up 600-700 gold, but at 25 minutes, less than 1,000 gold lead. That's pretty much a dead-even game as far as gold is concerned. So it is just going to be about this Baron and the upcoming Dragon Soul for FlyQuest.
And the engages that IMT will find with that vision, because that last one was played really well. Destiny hiding on the flank, found the angle onto exactly the target you want to go after. But will FlyQuest actually let that happen again? Because now Jose Deoda has to keep in mind, the second you see Destiny come in, you got to pop that ultimate. Or Xerxes, one of the two. Those are the only members that can actually lock you down instantly. Insanity's not such a problem. So as long as they're marking those 2 targets, it should be easier for FlyQuest to respond and survive the initial engage.
Yeah, also easier if they're sticking together, right? Because then Palafox doesn't have the issue of not being able to click on you. He can just stand next to you and shield himself with a Mantrid E if you really need to get the shields happening. So FlyQuest definitely understand that, their comp is definitely very strong together, so they are sticking together a little bit more now. Surfing up around the river here for these objectives. Powerfox, though, busy in the bot side, working on item number 3. Actually, both the ADs also working on the same there as IMT are getting their second items trickling in and continuing to remain proactive, which you like to see.
Yeah, they are proactive. They are on Baron. Destiny should be out.
Oh, Licorice! Very deep. Too deep, in fact, is Revenge. Gonna get a kill there onto Licorice.
That's not the ones you want to take, Pastry. That was not the least in queue to go in. Now, not just because it was not juicy at all. There was nobody low. There wasn't really an angle to kick somebody, but on top of that, this is not the way the composition wants to operate. You are not the star of this composition on Lee Sin. It is entirely dependent onto Johnson and Jose Diota to deal the damage. Lee Sin's job here is to peel, so IMT happy to take that kill. I don't think they're going to be able to get anything out of it, but we're going to just take a look at how this played out. Let's see if we can see what it was that Licorice actually saw on this. No, actually, I don't know anything that he saw on that one. Destiny might be one of the most slippery members on this lineup, and rightfully he plays his own ultimate on top of him and just keeps him locked down.
Yeah, unfortunate stuff there. I mean, Fly maybe thought they could catch Destiny there, but as you mentioned, very easy for Rakan to get out as the mid-outer does go down. IMT doing a nice job keeping things equalized. Again, doesn't feel like they want to run head first into a 5v5, but definitely if they can find the right engage, it is possible to make something happen here. But FlyQuest now around the Baron, still have a minute 30 until they have to want to play for that Cloud Soul. So a bit of time to maybe threaten the other objective in the meantime.
Threaten the objective, or at least force a trade. You can give up this Dragon if you want to go for the Baron, and then just try to get more gold out of it with a single push. Tristana is going to be very effective at that one, and it's not like the wave clear on IMT is superb in actually dealing with a sieged up Baron. So there are options for FlyQuest right now. They likely will prioritize the Dragon, though, because with the items that they have right now for these carries, taking a fight on their own terms will be in their benefit. Oh. You just don't want to get gibbed right away, but everything else you're happy to take.
Let me tell you, I've played a lot of mid-commer in my time, Crumbs. Powerfox is offline.
Why?
Why?
Oh, yeah.
It was really popular at, around MSI.
Okay.
And the skin was sweet. It was that year with the skin with that one.
All right.
I remember playing any solo queue with one of our producers. We both were in Brazil. We were playing into NA, and we won most of our games somehow. So that was pretty fun.
Mid-Karma on the Brazil server.
I mean, no, we were playing from Brazil to the US.
Oh,
so it was
okay.
It's like classic OC to NA solo queue all over again. 160 ping Karma, much better than like something actually hard to play.
If there was a champion to play at 160 ping, I'd actually choose
Karma's a good one.
An enchanter in the mid lane.
All right, well, his Unsensor is the whole reason I'm bringing it up, because he's ready to empower these ADs. They don't have their third items yet, but that doesn't matter. Powerfox is ready for him as FlyQuest are going to go to the Baron.
This is going to be burned really quickly. IMT is going to have to engage right away. Xerxes can steal, though. He does have flash and a lot of burst.
Licorice here trying to play bodyguard, though. That's the important one. Xerxes does have flash. Ooh, lights are out. In they go. And Brom is going to actually counter ulti very nicely there from Dreams, but he does take maybe a little too much damage. Oh, there's a bounty on that one. Ray's got it, though. I believe it's Jose Diota looking to get aggressive. Licorice as well, trying to find the angle. Dreams flashes in, but now Dreams ulti out for Kindred there is going to save the Brom's life, but for how much longer as IMT can descend upon them? But Licorice living now for a while as Jose is a little caught off. Those Qs working overtime there for Razor's FlyQuest. I just don't think they have the health left to re-engage.
But they have enough health to actually go for the Baron if IMT want to leave, so they have to decide if they want to stay around Baron, keep chasing, or go for another objective. They're trying to corral FlyQuest around the blue side. Both teams will disengage, but IMT sees an opportunity to go take this Dragon. Pings are already going down. Raze and Xerxes are going to go for it, and FlyQuest not in a position to go for the Baron just yet.
The other reason play mid-Karma, by the way. If you ever play League of Legends with Captain Flowers, it's the easiest game of your life.
Nice.
You just follow him around and speed him up on Skarner.
Buff up the Skarner. Okay. That works. That's a good strategy, actually. There have been plenty of just speed comps with the Skarner, whether it's the Karma Skarner or with the Sivir. He always likes speed.
Yeah, he says he loves playing with me because I just play in
right.
As IMT do get that Dragon, now 3-2 in Fly's favor still. Gold lead actually up for Immortals as well. They're up a little over 1,000 gold. 3 items finished for Ezreal. Also 3 items finished for Tristana. So perhaps the next encounter will look a little bit different here for FlyQuest. Johnson finally kind of online. This is the points Triss love to play from. If you could start every game, 30 minutes, 3 items as Triss, you probably would. Jose Diota in onto Xerxes. But tough one to get there for Greg, especially with the Zhonya's. Now they go back in. Destiny looking for the angle. Dreams puts up the door. Counter ulti's there, but the TP ulti out of Insanity as he's going to get caught off. Razor already took down Dreams, so TP laid in for Licorice. And now Buster shot back. Johnson in trouble. Insanity. Golden love the play. There's Revenge. Diving in on the Viego, trying to make it happen. Jose no ulti though, as they will disengage FlyQuest. How'd you get away from that one? Oh, Raze, goodness gracious, in there with the Arcane Shift, but doesn't make it.
Okay, Johnson can try to lifesteal, and they can still defend this. Last time they were able to fend off a Baron 3v5, so I don't think FlyQuest is particularly deterred from losing the Braum here. They're still going to walk away with an objective advantage, and IMT is not going for the Baron. That's going to be another mark for Kindred, so despite the fight going in IMT's favor, you just only caught the Braum. FlyQuest still walk away victorious.
All right, well, let's just one again. Again, FlyQuest on the assault, trying to make room around the Baron, but nice play here from Insanity.
They thought they caught Jose Diodo. The flash from Destiny just barely clipped him. He flashed out of it. And so, yes, they get the Braum, but then committing even further there splits multiple members apart. They don't get enough damage on anybody to be low enough to be executed. They end up flashing away, and by getting this low, they're just not in a position to go for an objective again. They're going for Baron, though, right after that reset.
All right, FlyQuest are back in the area. Jose ready with the ulti, but the Baron's very low. They need to get the vision. Destiny off to the side. The Baron should be IMT's. Lights are out. Love the play out of IMT. And now they look for the re-engage. Turning in onto Dreams. And that is a shutdown onto Johnson as well. IMT, they've found the angle. They've made it too. And FlyQuest can only run as Xerxes looking to pursue. Jose Diodo now trying to slow them down. Shooting away. Pretty powerful. But Revenge is the big one to watch here. Bottom of your screen. Flanking around. Has the Cloud patch to run through as well. Insanity zooming in alongside Destiny. And now where do you go? Powerfox running away. He reveals them. Now they're on the wrong side of the rift. As they're going to have to fight this out eventually. Pretty strong, but it's a 2v4.
They're really fast, though, so they might actually be able to get away, although Ezreal is actually pushing the mid lane.
Oh, Insanity found it. He sped up now. Jose's going to get exhausted. He's going to die. Ulti's knocking him out. Powerfox can only continue to run away, but Kindred, being cosplayed by Viego, finds the W slow to catch Paladin and Raze. He's been in mid. He knocks down a tower.
He did not want to have any part with that chase. Instead gets an inhibitor turret. Not the inhibitor though, but that is actually a fine push because they didn't reset after that objective. That earlier reset and instant call into the Baron was critical for IMT to catch FlyQuest off guard. They've been so good at defending any Baron attempt when they were there, but this time around they were too far away. IMT immediately seized the opportunity to take that objective, and now they might have just cracked the game wide open here. Good cast to disengage. Paranoia, not necessarily interested in the engage, but rather making sure that FlyQuest doesn't know what's coming from IMT. When you catch out the Braum, even if the Tristana goes down, there's just no more front line. Nobody to get stunned with the auto attacks, so IMT can chase freely.
All right, well, we give up the rest of the replay, thank you, because it was lasting for a while there, but they did get 2 kills, and Raze broke mid, so there's all good stuff for IMT. Still on the Red Bull Baron buff. Looking to open up that gold lead even more. Next Dragon up in 55. That'll sync up nicely with IMT's Baron expiring, but FlyQuest are getting scrappy. Trying to keep control of the mid wave here if they can. No supers yet, as a reminder, so FlyQuest can push these waves back with relative ease as long as they're grouped together, especially if IMT aren't powering up the waves themselves. But the flip side is that IMT push very quickly with the Baron buff, so you can't leave your towers unattended for too long, as Raze is currently demonstrating.
They push quickly and they engage even faster. That's what they've found every time. Never really been 5 members of FlyQuest together. Only a few caught out a little bit far away, and so the fights become so much easier for them. Now that FlyQuest is entirely grouped, it's going to be much tougher for IMT to find that opportunity to immediately pick off a member and continue the engage.
And it does feel like that's been the big problem for FlyQuest. IMT have done a really good job of finding engages where FlyQuest aren't all bunched together, right? Because that's the fight you really don't want to take if you're IMT, where Karma's just enchanting the back line as the front lines are getting in the way, and Kindred and Tristana are shooting you forever. So done a good job avoiding that scenario so far. Going to be walking in here to try and take the inhib. Revenge, a little too far forward, forced to ulti out. Insanity, defensive Nocturne ulti there, does force FlyQuest away.
Okay, so maybe without that ultimate, FlyQuest feel a little bit more confident going for a fight. The problem is they really don't have a way to engage. It's Immortals going in again.
Powerfox in problem. Destiny's found 2. What an ulti. There's Jose Diodo, though, trying to save the day, but the ultimate's just not going to be enough. He does flash out to safety. Powerfox is there. Johnson's still out as well. He actually took out Destiny. But now they need Palafox backs for the reinforcements. IMT still enough damage to take the mid inhib.
Critical ultimate from Jose Dioro. They might have just lost the game right there. So the worst thing that happens is they lose the inhibitor. They will also lose the dragon, but it looks like FlyQuest is trying to make a final stand here. Licorice TPs to the bottom wave. They want to defend this, but he's only him. There's no team behind him.
Bonus Scry's Bloom, not fast enough for the dragon. Jose roams back in, but they just can't join this fight. No ulti left for the Kindred, no ulti for Licorice. Nothing to find here as Raze grabs himself the blue buff. And FlyQuest going to be on defense for a little while longer with those super minions knocking through mid. And also this top pressure still there, but let's watch this one again.
An attempt onto Revenge's life, but a quick ultimate gets him out. And even though the paranoia doesn't actually contribute to this next engage, Destiny once again finds a great angle. Flash catches 2 members, both carries of FlyQuest. That is the dream engage for any support, but a critical ultimate from Jose Dioro. So much damage was laid on top of that. That game was almost lost, but they held on.
All right, well, still IMT staying aggressive. Blue buff does not get donated over. Good timing, though, for Raze. Just didn't quite have the aim as Palafox pretty intelligently pulled the blue buff away from its usual spot. IMT, though, still applying that pressure. A minute left until the Baron is respawned. They'll be more than happy to waltz in there and take it.
Yeah, they are going to be really confident in defending this too, because for the past few minutes, Raze has been deadly. We talked about in Champs like the importance of denying the Ezreal Karma combination, but now you're dealing with 2 marksmen who are getting outranged by a single player in Raze. His Mystic shots are doing so much damage since the itemization for FlyQuest is mostly aggressive, and they just can't get onto him. So many times when you're up against Ezreal, you just want to try to find an avenue to engage upon him, but now it's really just up to Raze to overextend, to shift forward for you to kill him. So FlyQuest not only have to think about dealing with the engage, but then dealing with an Ezreal that has a 700 gold bounty on top of him.
All right, well, 2 minutes 40 until the inhib's going to respawn in mid, so FlyQuest just have to sit here in mid and try and push back the super minions. IMT, of course, want to go for this Baron. And I don't know if FlyQuest are going to be able to walk on in here. They don't have the vision right now. IMT have made sure to keep a hold on that. Raze even shifting around aggressively, just poking onto Dreams.
Not afraid of a Braum. There's no engage. There's no one that can actually pick him off, so he has no problem using his Arcane Shift aggressively. IMT has no problems looking for an engage if FlyQuest want to present that opportunity. They don't need the Baron to end the game, but Insanity has been spotted. Quickly backs away, though, knows that that Trinket Ward would have been his demise had he continued to march forward. They'll just take that forward pressure to go for the Baron. Does FlyQuest make it in time? Doesn't look like it, but they're still trying.
If FlyQuest know what's up, though, they did get the Scry's Bloom down. They're not going to grab the Baron, but can they get the team fight here is the question. IMT looking to go back in again. Paranoia pop. Destiny with a great flank, but Johnson's going to flush himself out of there. Insanity diving back in there, but the damage might be a little too much. Big shield, though, on top of him as Johnson getting assaulted. Jose forced to pop the ulti, but they need to stay in the zone. So actually looking to dunk them around. They find it as IMT re-engage beautifully, and it's absolute carnage. No chance at all for FlyQuest. It's IMT with a clean Bud Light ace.
It was a rough early game, but a dominant mid to late game from IMT, executing their team fighting so well. Destiny in particular took such advantage of Insanity's paranoia, finding the right angles for the Rakan to engage, putting FlyQuest in a tricky situation. They could never stand together. They could never coordinate how to deal with the attack from multiple angles, and IMT can feel like they had a 3-0 week. It wasn't quite 3-0s, but in all 3 games this week, they were in winning positions.
Definitely feels like it's trending upwards for them. FlyQuest, I like the look of the comp, but maybe I overestimated like the strength of it once you got to 30 minutes, because they got to 30 minutes and IMT just picked it apart.
Yeah, it was, I think, to me, Destiny was my POG. I feel like he was so critical in actually flanking so many times and finding those flash engages to make sure that then the rest of the team could follow up. They didn't want to use the Gragas to be the initial engage because he'd have to just go in and then Zhonya's or just get burned right away. But with Destiny going in right away, allowed the rest of the team to be follow-up, and it just looked so much better. So glad that we got his pro view for free for this game.
That's true. You can watch streams in Destiny. That was the free pro view for this game. Shout out to Insanity as well for being the lighting guy in this game. Perfect timing, basically. Shutting him off whenever Destiny was looking for an angle, made his job a little bit easier.
It's one of the funnest parts about Nocturne. You don't actually have to do anything. You just, I've already done my job, guys. I pressed R and I didn't go in. It's up to you now to win the fight.
I pressed R and didn't die. I did the right thing. What have you been doing?
Yes, that's what I tell my solo queue teammates, and they complain and don't let me play Nocturne the next game.
Well, it's very surprising, isn't it? Yeah, I can't overemphasize how challenging that game looked at some points for IMT. Like, they were behind, but not by a lot. But it just didn't feel like there was an obvious way to get through Bodyguard Braum, Tristana, Kindred plus Kindred ulti, Lee Sin kicking you away, and Karma just ready at full power every team fight.
Yet they found it, and I think the lesson this week has been, including CLG's 3-0 week, is the dominance of heavy engage. The fact that if you're trying to play Peel, it's just so difficult to engage and find the opportunities. You're always playing reactive versus IMT, who can always be finding the flanks, finding the fights that they want to spell on their own terms. And with every single member being interested in that game plan, it makes it so much easy for everybody to know what their game plan. We had moments where it was clear that FlyQuest didn't really know where everybody was supposed to be at. Licorice on Lee Sin, that's a confusing game to play Lee Sin. Who are you kicking away? At what timing? Who are you prioritizing? What about if the fight doesn't go the way that you expect it? A lot harder to play these compositions, and many, many more options in the hard engage.
It definitely feels like the burden of execution was a bit tougher, but now it's time to toss it over to the Tigress and Destiny for our Verizon post-game interview.
Hey everybody, we're here on the stage after the victory talking to Destiny, because what a hype match up for Immortals, though it did come down to some later game team fights. So what was this game like from your perspective?
It was a bit of a banger. Definitely came down to team comp execution, playing Rakan and Gragas and trying to get onto the Kindred to blow her ult. It was actually a really hard game because I feel like they scaled very well. They had Kindred, Braum, very strong front to back. So yeah, I'm just really glad that we won.
Yeah, how did that affect the way that you played the game later on, knowing they had the double marksman there, but you knew that Raze was getting strong, scaling into it?
Yeah, Raze was actually a really good Ezreal. It was one of his best champs in OS, and I'm probably leaking too much, but he's really good on the pick, and I'm glad that he got to finally play it on stage. Yeah, it was really hard. I had to be a bit more creative this game and look for flanks. In particular, I was hiding around the jungler. Their Braum was showing on mid-wave a lot, so I took advantage of that. But yeah, I was just trying to be sneaky and really annoying for them.
And that sneakiness has earned you player of the game for this matchup and this W. So tell me a bit more about your approach as a support, because we've seen you on the Thresh just kind of slamming those hooks, now on the Rakan also engage, but does operate in a different way.
Yeah, I'd say that Thresh is a lot about protecting your AD carry, playing Lantern for him, looking for hooks over walls. But with Rakan, it's mainly around hitting your knock-up. If you hit up your knock-up and with the charm and the ult, you pretty much want to play to one-shot everyone. That's pretty much the differences between the champions. In EU, I wasn't really allowed to play any other champion besides Nautilus, so it feels good to play new champs here in the LCS.
I know I might be asking you to leak anything, but is there a champ that you've been wanting to play that you've been barred against for so long?
I can't leak, or Gohoto will get really angry at me.
All right, that makes sense. Seems like a nice guy. We had him on the desk yesterday, but want to keep him happy.
Yeah.
So you as a team obviously working together very well. One part of this composition that did stay the same was kind of that top side, right? You had Viego, you had the Nocturne mid, you had the Gragas. How key was that to kind of honing in on what has been working for Immortals going into the victory here today?
Yeah, I feel like the Nocturne in particular has been one of our strong champs the past 2 days. It's worked out really well. The ultimate everyone doesn't know what to do, what's going on. They can't look at each other's computers. It's too in the moment. So yeah, I would say our top side played really well this game. They played off waves and used their ultimates really well. Once Viego got a reset in the fight, he would just clean up everything. So no, I'm just really happy that our team was really able to pull out the win today, because obviously the TSM win loss was really sucked.
But teamwork makes the dream work. It worked today. Yeah. I always got to shout out your team, too, that does stay on by to go and watch the interviews and support one another. Yeah, hi, everybody. And thank you so much for taking the time on the stage.
No worries. Thank you for the interview.
We do have one more game to go on the opposite side of this break. GG is taking on EG. You don't want to miss it. Let's wrap this week strong, baby. See you there.